What's going on, y'all? Toby coming at you. And this week, I'm not talking about hospital experience or after we kind of wrapped all that stuff up. This is more, I'm doing this more out of concern for everybody out there because of all the feedback I've gotten in comments. So, going off of the thumbnail, I'm going to answer the question, or at least based upon the information I have, for heart attacks. Okay? And I'm going to read directly from this pamphlet, and I'll put it up here in front of me as I read. I'm going to cover what a heart attack is, and yes, many of you may already know what a heart attack is. Some of you don't, but my intent here is to hopefully give some clarity and answer some questions for people, and maybe even create some doubt for some of you to investigate further how you've been feeling lately. Okay, so because when I have discussed and told people of what happened with me in my surgery from February up until now, especially guys that I know or women that I know that are my age, who thought they were doing great, when I explained what the symptoms or what I'd been feeling, I've had a few that have been like, oh crap, maybe I need to check myself. Or I've heard somebody's wife or girlfriend say that to some other person. Maybe you need to get that checked out, that kind of thing. So hopefully what I'm about to share with you, hopefully will help you for yourself or for a loved one. Okay, so let's get into this. I'm going to cover what is a heart attack. I'm going to cover my experience, and also by telling you about that experience, we're going to discuss the symptoms of a heart attack. Okay, and like I said, yeah, you can go on and Google symptoms of heart attack, and it'll explain all that stuff to you as well. You can do that, I would encourage you to do that. But it seems to me that some people don't even bother Googling. They'll watch YouTube stuff, or they'll watch videos to find that information out, right, for research. So anyway, my source is coming from BaptistHealth.com, and this is their pamphlet about heart attacks. Okay, like I said, I'm going to share a picture of this specific. I'm going to read what happens about heart attacks. I'm going to put it up in front of me. I'm going to take a snapshot of this, and I'll put it up here. And I'm also going to do the same thing for the symptoms. And it also has the treatment and the prevention on the backside. But what happens during a heart attack? A heart attack occurs when the blood flow and oxygen supplied to a part of the heart is blocked. This can happen when blood vessels, coronary arteries, that supply blood to the heart have a buildup of fat, cholesterol, calcium, and fibrin, also called plaque. If the plaque breaks open and a blood clot is formed, it blocks the blood flow to areas of the heart, causing a heart attack. And this kind of touches on what I've told you all in the past, my videos. During the echo, they determined that my heart was operating before surgery, was operating at about 37% efficiency, pumping oxygenated blood into my heart and then out of my heart. Okay, so what is I'm not going to go into the plaque and the calcium, the cholesterol, the fat. Y'all know that comes from lack of activity, poor dietary choices, things like that, right? And lack of activity is something as simple as walking daily, working out, exercising, all those things that, sometimes you hate to do. But because we all love, those Texas Roadhouse steaks or buffalo wings and rings and whatever. And I'm not saying those are the best thing. Those aren't the best choices, but doctors everywhere will say moderation, right? We hate that kind of stuff. But anyway, I won't go down that tunnel. The prevention pieces they put, and I'll put it up here again, is 1, do not smoke and avoid secondhand smoke. Number 2, eat healthy. Eat a healthy diet that is low in sodium and saturated fats. Increase your intake of lean proteins, fiber, and fruits and vegetables. Get at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity each week. Okay, so maintain a healthy weight. And I can tell you all this, when I was in the military, at the tail end of the military, before I retired and till now, I've been 200 plus pounds. Okay, I'm 5'11", between 6 foot and 5'11", depending upon what convenience store I'm running out of. But I can tell you that when I was 212 pounds in the military, still making the required body fat weight measurements and all that kind of stuff, the doctors were telling me that I was still considered obese. Even though I fit just fine in my uniforms, no issues whatsoever, and still did, dedicate the PT, whatever, and occasionally, and did the height weight test the Army does. They said I was obese by statistics and by numbers. So you should check into that. Maintaining a healthy weight is probably one of the bigger pieces, because along with that, besides from heart attacks, you're talking about pre-diabetic, diabetic, type 2 diabetes, that kind of stuff. So, okay, but maintain a healthy weight. Consider joining cardiac rehab. Strongly recommended. That's what I did from February through May. And see your doctor for regular checkups and management of high blood pressure and blood sugar. So the other part I haven't mentioned yet with you all, and the last one is take your medications exactly as prescribed by your healthcare provider. The one thing I haven't mentioned about all this stuff, about your healthy choices and lifestyles and working out, is genetics, okay? If you have a history of high blood pressure, a history of heart attacks, of strokes, then it's a double whammy, okay? I have it in my family. The paternal side of my family has a history of high blood pressure, cholesterol, and strokes and heart attacks. So, but yeah, so I'll wrap this up with the symptoms of, in my experience, okay? They did when I told you that you said in the past, this is going to be more from the experience based upon this than it is of my testimony for what I've said in the past. You've heard me say this before. When my doctor ordered the cardiac stress test, that was in December of last year. I did that, and like I said, that was where they put a dye in. They injected dye into me, hooked me up to like an EKG, and then I get on a treadmill, and you walk and maybe even run a little bit, but it's putting your heart and your body under a mild stress on that treadmill. They do the incline a little bit, they get you going on it, and I was already starting to feel the stress from that, okay? And after the test was done, results came in. About 2 weeks later, I messaged my doctor and said, hey, I'm done the test, haven't heard anything back, have you? He called me and said, yes, I'm glad you called or you notified me, because they don't just notify the doctor the test is done for the patient, because they do hundreds of them. They do, thousands, whatever there is. So what he told me was very disturbing, because he said that it looked like I had already had at least 2 mild heart attacks, okay? This was in December when he said this, midway through December. So I had not seen this pamphlet yet at that time. And my wife brought it home from I have a VA primary care doctor, and I have a civilian primary care doctor. My wife and I see the same person. So my wife came home from an appointment with hers and my primary care doctor, civilian side, and she grabbed this pamphlet from that office, or she grabbed a pamphlet just like this. I lost it, and then last week I went back there again. I said, I lost it. See, and I hearing the whole Kool-Aid, not knowing the flavor. Anyway, so, I went back over there on Friday and got the pamphlet again. Okay, so here's what I'm going to explain to you. That after he told me that, she gave me this pamphlet. I went down these symptoms, okay? Because I don't know about you guys, but whenever I hear these symptoms, you see the commercials all the time. If you're feeling this, and I'm like, no, I don't have that. I don't get that. That you kind of do that there's a little bit of ego and pride in there, right? In that tone. So the symptoms, I'm going to put them up here. Any one of these symptoms or all can signal a heart attack, okay? First one, chest pain, squeezing, heaviness, tightness, or chest discomfort. Second one, pain that spreads to the neck, the jaw, the upper back, or arms. 3, I'm not very good at holding that 3, so 3, shortness of breath. 4, nausea. 5, sweating. 6, dizziness or lightheadedness. Okay, so I can tell you all, when I read this, it was a reality check for me, because as I said to you all in the very first video and a couple of them afterwards, I had been feeling what this is what I told the doctor, right? Before he ordered the cardiac stress test. I had been feeling what I thought was heartburn for about a year to 18 months before I told him about it, okay? And I mean, heartburn coming whenever I felt stress, whenever I was getting angry, whenever I was out walking around, okay? I'd get into just a walk around the block and I'd start feeling heartburn sensation right through here. And I've always felt, or always understood, as far as education-wise, that when it came to heart attack or strokes, that pain started here and then would radiate out through your left arm, and it would be painful, and that was kind of like your indicator. You're about to pass out and go. You're about to be gone. So I wasn't feeling anything like that. I was just feeling what I thought was heartburn, and again, I attributed it to it. I told the doctor that I was like, I'm fat and I'm out of shape, overweight, out of shape. And I thought this was just me because of that. And the doctor said that is perfectly normal to think that. And so chest pain, I'm telling you all, if you're feeling anything that you think feels like heartburn, as simple as that, and it's like, it feels like it's kind of on the surface or whatever, radiates out, or just it's right in this area, telling you get that checked out. That may not be heartburn, okay? Because chest pain, squeezing, heaviness, tightness, or chest discomfort. So when I first read this list, I was like, okay, so I've got heartburn. That's not chest pain, right? That was me. Number 2, the pain that spreads to the neck, jaw, upper back, or arms. I didn't have that, so I was okay, not me. Shortness of breath. I did not think I had that. So I'm going from this at the time that I was reading this. No, I was like, I don't have shortness of breath. I go out, do walks, whatever. I don't have it. I did. So, but the big one that got me was the nausea, okay? And so from saying this, I can tell you off of these symptoms, I can recall 3 distinct times that I had what the doctor was saying, the possible mild heart attack. So I had one in November. I think, was it November when you and I did that walk? So November, Kylie and I went on a walk together. It was one of our first ones. And we walked down to the end of our street and came back up. And as I was coming back up, I had already started feeling the heartburn, right? And I got about halfway, 3/4 up the street and started feeling nauseous. And I threw up right there. It wasn't like food and grossness. It was just, how you get when you have run, or you have, what's the word? You've worked too hard, or you've exerted yourself too hard on your body, put too much work into your body, and your body makes you kind of throw up or dry heave or whatever it's called. That's what I was doing, but I was throwing up, okay? So it's just your body saying, I can't get enough oxygen because you're moving too quickly. But in this case, it was because I was having a mild heart attack, okay? That was the first time. The second time it happened was it was in November when we were doing it was November Veterans Day weekend. We did a ride in the community for honoring veterans of the community, right? And so our chapter rode over there to our American Legion Park over here, and I had to go to the bathroom, so we were parked at the bottom. I walked to the top of the parking lot up to where the pool was. That was the closest bathroom, and the door was locked. And then I started walking up a little further across the parking lot, because across the parking lot was a clubhouse, or a break house, if you will, for a golf course. We were on the edge, that area was on the edge of a golf course, and there was a break machine, restrooms, and whatever there. And so I went in there to go to the bathroom. But by the time I got up to that bathroom, I was having, how you get in the back of your throat where you feel like you're going to throw up, right? And you keep swallowing to keep it back. And it wasn't pushing hard like I couldn't stop it. It was just, you have that ball in the back of your throat like you're going to puke, right? That was nausea, and I was feeling it there. And I was also having the chest pains again. Okay. And then the final time was we did Wreaths Across America, and we rode over as our chapter went to our local veteran cemetery here in Ratcliffe, and I walked from the parking spot at the very front entrance of the cemetery up the hill to the plot area that we typically lay wreaths at, okay? And I got up there and I was feeling the same thing, the heart, and I was trying to take my time too. This was a little more uphill though. I was trying to take my time and pace myself, and I was still feeling pain here. And this was before I found out about the results from the doctor, okay? After the phone call with the doctor this phone call with him was after the Wreaths Across America piece, I believe, and he told me after that phone call that I needed to take it very easy. No more extraneous walking, no more nothing other than walking around carefully, whatever, going to and from work or whatever I had to do like that, but he wanted me to take it easy. So again, the top of that, when we got to the top up there at the cemetery, I felt the same thing that I had in the two previous descriptions, pain in my chest, and I felt nausea. So those were the 3 times that I could tell you were probably mild heart attacks, and it wasn't pleasant. Number one. Number two, it showed my vulnerability. Right, it really did. So, but all I can tell y'all is if you are feeling, Google it. I don't care whether you go to your local doctor and get a pamphlet like this that gives you the explanations or gives you the breakdowns, or if you Google it and try to say, hey, what are the symptoms? Plug in the search engine, I'm 50 plus, or I'm 40 plus, or I'm 30, whatever age you are, I'm this height, this weight. What are the symptoms of a heart attack or a stroke for my age, or that kind of get detailed in your searches, y'all. This is about your health. We only get one life. That's it. So, and don't be afraid to ask somebody for their assistance with this stuff. If somebody knows more than you, right? Google AI or Siri may not have all the answers. Okay. But anyway, it's probably a short video this week, guys, and I apologize. It's late, but I wanted to share that. Hopefully this will help somebody out there. If you're feeling no symptoms, any of these symptoms, y'all, it does nothing to your life to go to your primary care doctor and get checked. Voice the concern. Tell them that you just want to get checked. You felt this consistently over weeks or months or days or whatever, and you're trying to get ahead of it. There's nothing wrong with asking those questions. Guys, I was on that cruise ship last year in 2020. I went on a cruise in 2024, February. So coming up on 2 years now. My wife and I did laps around they have a track, a walking and a running track around one of the decks the main deck, and we were doing that a couple times, and I felt it at that time. I didn't have the nausea, but those were the early stages of feeling what I thought was the heartburn, and it was before that too. I had been feeling the heartburn sensation for the better part of a year and a half before that point where my wife said, please go to the doctor after I threw up on our walk, and she said, please get this checked out. So, telling you, you might think it's heartburn. That is chest pain. Please, for your own sake, your loved one's sake, your family's sake, your friend's sake, get it checked out. If it turns out to be heartburn, you're great, Take Meprazole or some OTC stuff and knock that out. But it's better to find out it's that and it's not potential angina that can lead to heart attack, okay? So anyway, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think this is something worth beating up. So if you have any questions, please hit me up. Comments again. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for people that have been in the comments again. I say this a lot, I know, but I don't care. Thank you for sharing your experiences, whether you've been through it, whether you've had a surgery already, how far past it you are, if you're about to go through it. Share it, because somebody else is out there not knowing. Okay, they're scared to death and they don't know what to expect. You sharing along with what I'm sharing helps encourage and bolster that person's confidence, knowing, hey, you're going to be good. Okay, you'll be fine. Follow your doctor's advice, get through the surgery, get past it, and recover and get better, get whole. So, have I had a video yet that I didn't time it, unintentionally time it during the chimes of the clock? So, anyway, thank you all again. Love you all. Until the next video, y'all be safe. God bless y'all. Take care.